If you listen closely, you might hear it too. A soft jingling in the distance, like tiny silver bells dancing across a blanket of snow. Some say it's just the winter wind. But tonight feels different. Because on this Christmas night, something magical is moving through the quiet world. Something gentle, ancient, and filled with a warmth that even the coldest snow cannot hide. And if you stay with this story until the very end, you'll discover the secret that only appears to those who are peaceful enough and sleepy enough to hear the whisper of Christmas dreams. So settle in, take a deep breath, and let the night open before you. The night was calm over the little town of Wintervale, a peaceful place tucked between snowy hills and quiet pine forests. Every rooftop glowed with soft golden lights, and every cobblestone street shimmered beneath a thin layer of fresh snow. It wasn't the kind of town you'd find on a map. It was the kind you stumbled upon only when you needed it the most. When life needed a moment of warmth and stillness. The snow was falling slowly, almost thoughtfully, like it had all the time in the world. Each flake twirled gently, glowing under the moonlight, drifting down from a sky so blue and soft it looked like velvet. If you stood outside and tilted your head up, it almost felt like the stars were quietly descending, one by one, to rest on the earth. Inside a tiny cottage at the edge of Wintervale lived a young woman named Ilara. She wasn't extraordinary in the way people usually think. She wasn't a magician or a traveler or someone with grand stories to tell. She was simply a kind soul who loved warm tea, quiet nights, and the soft glow of candles on her windowsill. Tonight, she sat beside her fireplace, wrapped in a thick wool blanket. A kettle of peppermint tea steamed gently beside her, and a small journal rested on her lap. Every now and then, she looked up at the window and watched the snow float down from the sky, her eyes soft and filled with childlike wonder. Christmas Eve had always been her favorite time of the year. Not because of presents or celebrations, but because of the stillness. There was something special about the silence on this night. Something comforting, like the whole world was taking a deep breath with her. But tonight, something felt different. The air felt thicker, richer, filled with a kind of warmth she couldn't quite explain. And somewhere outside, she thought she heard that faint, gentle jingling again. At first, she brushed it off. It could have been the wind brushing against her wind chimes. Maybe a stray branch tapping gently on the glass. But then it happened again, soft, meek, almost like a lullaby wrapped in bells. Ilara sat up slowly, listening. The sound drifted through the snowy air, delicate but clear, coming from somewhere deep within the forest behind her cottage. She reached out toward the window, her fingertips brushing the cold glass. The forest looked peaceful, draped in silver snow, but beneath that stillness, she felt something moving, something warm, something inviting. A spark of curiosity fluttered in her chest, but she shook her head gently and smiled to herself. "No, I'm just sleepy," she whispered. It's probably nothing. She curled deeper into her blanket, letting the warmth of the fire sink into her bones. The flames flickered softly, painting golden waves across the wooden walls of her cottage. And slowly, very slowly, her eyes began to grow heavy. But just as she was drifting off, a soft knock echoed across the room. Elara opened her eyes slowly, thinking it was the fire crackling. But then she heard it again. A knock, soft, gentle, but unmistakable. She blinked, confused. No one ever came to her cottage this late, especially not on a snowy Christmas Eve. For a moment, she simply listened. The wind was calm. The bells had gone silent. But the knock, that was real. Elara sighed softly, slipped out from under her blanket, and walked to the door, her footsteps quiet on the wooden floor. When she pulled it open, a small gust of cold air brushed past her, carrying snowflakes that danced into her warm cottage. But there was no one there, just the quiet forest, the soft snowfall, and the stillness of the night. Elara stepped outside, wrapping her arms around herself. The snow beneath her bare feet was soft and powdery. She looked around, her breath forming gentle clouds in the air. "Hello," she called out softly. No answer. Only the sound of the wind brushing through the pine branches. She turned back toward her cottage, but paused. There at her doorstep lay a tiny, shimmering envelope. Her heart fluttered gently. It was no bigger than her palm, glowing faintly as if touched by moonlight. A delicate silver ribbon wrapped around it, and her name was written on the front in the softest, most elegant handwriting she had ever seen. Elara. She crouched and picked it up. The moment her fingers touched the envelope, a soft warmth spread through her hands, like holding a mug of hot cocoa. Carefully, she unwrapped the ribbon and opened it. Inside was a small card with a message written in looping, graceful letters. "Follow the bells." She froze, her breath caught in her chest. Follow the bells. She looked back toward the forest. For a moment, everything was still. And then, there it was again. The soft, distant jingling, almost like it was calling her. Elara stood there for a long moment, her eyes drifting between the warm safety of her cottage and the inviting glow of the snowy forest. And slowly, gently, curiosity nudged her forward. She slipped on her snow boots, wrapped herself in her thickest coat, and stepped into the night. The cold air kissed her cheeks, and the snow whispered beneath her feet as she walked toward the sound. The bells grew clearer with each step, soft, gentle, guiding. The forest welcomed her with open branches, dusted with fresh snow that glowed like stardust. Elara moved deeper, the world becoming quieter, softer, almost dreamlike. The pine trees stood tall around her, their branches heavy with snow. The moon painted silver paths on the ground, lighting the way as if it knew exactly where she was going. The bells chimed again, this time closer. She paused, looking around. The sound seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. "Lara?" She nearly jumped. A voice, or something like a voice, whispered gently behind her. She turned, but again, No one was there, only the snow, the trees, the soft, drifting silence. Ilara, keep going. The whisper came again, as gentle as a lullaby. Her breath trembled, not with fear, but with wonder. Something magical was unfolding, something she didn't understand yet, but felt drawn to. So she continued forward. The forest seemed to open for her, creating a path that hadn't been there before. Tiny lights glimmered in the branches. At first she thought they were fireflies, but they shimmered like tiny stars caught in the snow. As she walked deeper, her thoughts grew softer. The world felt slower, quieter, sleepier. Her eyelids grew heavier, her body relaxing as if the forest itself was guiding her into a dream. Then, through the trees, she saw it, a warm golden glow, soft, steady, inviting. She stepped closer, and the trees parted, revealing a small clearing she had never seen before. At its center stood a tiny wooden cabin, glowing with warm amber light. Snow rested softly on its roof, and a thin trail of smoke drifted from the chimney, curling into the night sky. And hanging on the door was a small wreath made of tiny silver bells. Her breath caught. The bells jingled softly in the wind, the same sound she had heard from her cottage. Elora stepped forward slowly, drawn to the warmth that radiated from the cabin. She reached out, her hand trembling slightly, and touched the wooden door. The moment her fingers brushed the surface, the bells chimed gently, and the door opened just a crack. Warmth washed over her, a comforting, soothing warmth that made her entire body relax. Without thinking, she stepped inside. Elora stepped into the warm glow of the cabin, letting the soft light wrap around her like a gentle embrace. The air inside smelled faintly of cinnamon and pine, warm and comforting, as if the entire space had been waiting just for her. She closed the door behind her, the bells chiming softly one last time before settling into silence. The interior was cozy and softly lit by candle lanterns placed on wooden shelves. A small fire crackled in the stone fireplace, casting golden shadows that danced across the walls. The warmth seeped into her immediately, loosening any tension left in her shoulders. She inhaled deeply, letting that comfort settle in her chest. The cabin was simple: wooden furniture, plush cushions, and a small table set with a pot of steaming tea. But something about it felt familiar, like she had been here before, perhaps in a dream she had long forgotten. Elora stepped forward slowly, her boots tapping gently against the wooden floor. She felt as if she were moving through a warm cloud, every sound softened, every thought drifting. She slipped off her gloves and reached toward the teapot on the table. Steam curled upward in delicate ribbons. There were 2 cups placed beside it, as though someone had been expecting her. She hesitated only a moment before pouring herself a cup. The aroma was deep and soothing. Chamomile, lavender, maybe a hint of something sweet. She couldn't quite identify. She brought it to her lips, and the first sip melted through her like warm honey. "So you followed the bells?" Ilara gasped softly and turned. A figure stood near the fireplace, though she hadn't noticed anyone when she entered. The figure was tall, draped in a long cloak the color of winter sky. Their presence wasn't startling. If anything, it was calming, their voice gentle enough to lull her deeper into a sleepy haze. I didn't see you there," Elara whispered. The figure chuckled softly, a sound like soft bells in the distance. "I didn't want to startle you. This night is meant to soothe, not frighten." Elara studied them. Their face was mostly hidden beneath the hood, but the edges of soft silver hair peeked out. Their hands were warm, looking, resting gently on a carved wooden staff. "Who are you?" she asked, though her voice was barely above a whisper. "Just a guide," the figure replied. "Someone who walks with those who need a bit of magic and a bit of rest." Elara felt warmth bloom in her chest, as if the fire behind the figure was glowing inside her. "And why me?" she asked softly. The figure stepped closer, slow and unthreatening, like a breeze gliding through a quiet forest. "Because you heard the bells," they said. "Only those whose hearts are open to wonder can hear them on nights like this." Elara looked into her cup, watching the steam swirl gently. "I almost didn't follow them," she admitted. "Yet you did," the figure said. "And that choice has brought you here." Elara set her cup down slowly, her fingers brushing the warm ceramic. A soft heaviness tugged at her eyelids, not unpleasant, but comforting, like being wrapped in a blanket after a long day. The figure motioned toward a cushioned chair near the fire. "Sit. Rest a while. The night is long, and gentle stories await those who listen." Elara sat down, the chair soft beneath her. She curled her legs beneath herself and leaned slightly toward the fire. The warmth kissed her skin, and her breath settled into a slow, peaceful rhythm. The figure took the seat across from her, folding their cloak neatly before sitting. For a moment, they simply watched the fire with her, the flickering flames painting gold across their face. After several quiet minutes passed, minutes that felt like drifting snow, the figure spoke again. "Do you know why the snow fell so slowly tonight?" they asked. Elara blinked, her sleepy mind drifting. "I thought it was just a calm evening." "It is calm," the figure agreed. "But on nights like this, the world slows down because it listens. Every flake takes its time, every breeze softens its breath, even time itself loosens its hold." Elara felt the truth of those words more than she understood them. Everything did feel slower, softer, as if she were wrapped in a dream. She didn't want to leave. The figure reached into their cloak and pulled out a tiny wooden box. They placed it gently on the table between them. The wood was carved with tiny stars and swirling patterns. "This," the figure said softly, "is why you were called tonight." Elara leaned forward slightly, curiosity stirring through her sleepiness. The box glowed faintly, as though it held a tiny ember inside. "May I open it?" she asked quietly. "Not yet," the figure replied with a warm smile. "You will, when the time is right. For now, Just keep it close. They pushed the box toward her. Ilara placed her hands on it and felt a warmth pulse through her palms. It wasn't hot, just deeply soothing, like a gentle heartbeat. It feels alive, she whispered. In a way, the figure said. Think of it as a promise. A story waiting to reveal itself. Ilara held the box close to her chest, her pulse slowing. The fire cracked softly beside her, the flames swaying gently like they, too, were drifting towards sleep. The figure watched her quietly, as if studying the peacefulness settling over her. Their voice softened even further, blending with the hush of the fire. You've carried many thoughts this year, haven't you? They said gently. Worries that don't speak, but sit silently on your shoulders. Ilara swallowed, feeling warmth rise in her throat. How? How do you know? It's written in your breath. The figure murmured. In the way your thoughts slow when you find stillness. In the way your heart listens when the world grows quiet. Ilara let her eyes drift halfway closed, her fingers brushing the wooden box. It's been a long year, she whispered. I know, the figure replied. That's why you were brought here. Some nights aren't meant for words, they're meant for rest. For letting the world hold you for a while. Ilara exhaled slowly, and the sound felt like releasing a weight she didn't realize she had been carrying. The fire crackled again, soft, calm, steady. The figure stood and walked to a small shelf on the wall. They picked up a snow globe, holding it gently in both hands. Inside, tiny silver flakes swirled around a miniature cabin that looked strikingly similar to the one they were in. They handed it to Ilara. For when you need the bells again, they said. Ilara turned the snow globe slowly, watching the flakes drift and swirl. They fell just like the snow outside, slow, soft, peaceful. The warmth in her chest deepened, spreading through her arms, down to her fingertips. Why does everything feel so? She searched for the right word, but her mind felt thick and dreamy. So quiet. Because you're listening, the figure replied. And because this night was made for you. Ilara leaned back in her chair, feeling herself drift. The fire's glow softened into a haze, and the room felt warmer, smaller, safer. Her breaths grew slow and deep, each one pulling her deeper into comfort. The figure watched her with gentle eyes. You don't need to understand everything tonight, they said softly. Just rest. Let the story unfold around you. Ilara allowed her eyes to close completely for a moment. Her thoughts floated like snowflakes, wandering gently. But even in that peaceful haze, she felt something. Something shifting softly in the air. A faint sound. A chiming. The bells again. They were softer this time, almost like they were drifting through a dream. Ilara opened her eyes slowly, her vision warm and blurred. The figure smiled softly. They're calling you, they whispered, but not to leave, only to listen. Ilara sat very still, the snow globe in her hands, the wooden box resting on her lap. The bells were faint, distant, almost unreal. yet deeply comforting. "Where are they coming from?" she murmured sleepily. The figure looked toward the door. "From the place where the story deepens," they said. "A place for only the calmest hearts. And you're almost ready to go." Ilara felt the warmth around her pulse once more, as though the cabin itself was breathing with her. Her eyelids grew heavy again. "What's in the box?" she whispered. The figure's smile grew softer. "A memory you've forgotten," they said. "And a truth you've been quietly searching for." Ilara held it tighter, feeling its warmth seep through her palms. "When will I open it?" she asked, her voice fading into a whisper. "When the bells stand still," the figure said. "And when the night becomes quiet enough for you to hear what's been waiting." Her breath trembled. The bells chimed again, clearer this time. She felt herself sink deeper into the chair, the warmth pulling her toward rest, toward the soft quiet of dreams. And outside the cabin, through the drifting snow, the bells continued their gentle song, calling her deeper into the story. The bells outside grew softer, as though they were drifting farther into the night, yet somehow becoming clearer in Ilara's mind. She kept her eyes half closed, listening, breathing slowly as the warmth of the cabin wrapped around her like a quiet embrace. The wooden box hummed warmly in her lap, and the snow globe shimmered faintly in her hands, the tiny flakes inside swirling as if they responded to her heartbeat. The figure remained by the fireplace, their presence steady and serene. They watched her with the ease of someone who had waited many nights for a moment exactly like this one. The firelight caught the silver threads in their cloak, making them glow softly, like moonlight woven into fabric. "Ilara," they said gently, "before you follow the bells any further, you must remember something." Her sleepy eyes lifted to meet theirs. "Remember what?" The figure tilted their heads slightly, the hood slipping back just enough for Ilara to see calm. Kind eyes that shimmered like morning frost. "That you are not alone in this night. You were called because you listened, because you allowed stillness to speak." Ilara blinked slowly, as if trying to hold on to their words before they drifted away like snowflakes melting on her palms. She didn't fully understand, but the truth of their voice wrapped around her like another blanket. The figure stepped closer and gently touched the side of the snow globe. The moment their fingers brushed the glass, the tiny flakes inside began to glow with a soft silver light. They drifted in spirals, forming shapes, patterns, and then, slowly, an image. Ilara leaned forward, her breath shallow. Inside the globe, the tiny cabin faded away, replaced by a snowy forest, the same forest outside. But now, inside the swirling flakes, she saw a path, glowing softly, leading to something she couldn't quite see. The figure tapped the globe again, and the image dissolved into sparkling snow. "That path will appear for you soon," they murmured, "but not until you are ready to walk it." Ilara closed her fingers around the globe, feeling its warmth pulse gently against her skin. She didn't know why, but the sight of that glowing path stirred something deep inside her, like a memory she had once held but forgotten long ago. "What's at the end of it?" she asked softly. "A truth," the figure whispered. "A gift meant for your heart alone." She exhaled, a long, slow breath that softened her entire body. Sleep tugged at her gently, stroking the back of her mind like a lullaby she had known since childhood. She could hardly keep her eyes open now. The figure stepped closer still, their voice barely louder than the fire's soft crackle. "You're drifting," they said kindly. "And that's good. Let the night carry you a little longer." Alara sank deeper into the chair, the cushions embracing her. She could feel her thoughts loosening, her mind growing quieter, softer, like snow settling on a quiet street. Another chime of bells drifted through the walls of the cabin. This time it came with a breath of cold air, as though the night outside had exhaled gently into the room. Alara shivered, not from cold, but from wonder. "Why do the bells sound different each time?" she asked slowly, her voice slurring slightly from sleepiness. The figure smiled. "Because they're not just bells. They are echoes of the path calling to you. Each chime brings you closer to the truth inside that box." Ilara looked down at the wooden box in her lap. The carvings on it, stars, swirling lines, seemed to glow faintly, pulsing like a heartbeat. She ran her thumb across one of the etched stars, feeling its gentle warmth. "It's so peaceful," she murmured. "As it should be," the figure replied. "This place exists only for peace, for quiet hearts, for those who need to rest." Ialara's head tilted slightly to the side as she fought to stay awake. "Is this real?" she whispered. "The cabin, the bells. This night, is it real?" The figure considered her for a long moment, then knelt down beside her chair, so they were at eye level. "Everything that brings you peace is real," they said gently. "Everything that guides you closer to yourself is real. And everything that reminds you to breathe is real." Ilara let her eyes close, comforted by the sound of those words. The figure rested a warm hand atop the wooden box. "When the time is right," they whispered, "the box will open on its own. Not by force, but by stillness." Ilara wanted to ask more, but her thoughts drifted like feathers. Her breathing slowed, deep and calm. The fire's warmth seeped into her bones. She might have fallen asleep right then, soft, silent, peaceful, if not for the sudden flicker of movement beyond the frosted window. A small, glowing shape drifted outside, hovering just above the snow. It shimmered like a star, pulsing softly, as if calling her name without sound. Alara's eyes opened just enough to see it. "What is that?" she whispered, entranced. The figure turned to look. When they saw the glowing shape, they nodded slowly, almost as though they had expected it. "It's a lightkeeper," they said softly, "a gentle guide of the forest. They appear to those who are ready to take the next step." The tiny star, light glow drifted closer to the window, leaving a glowing trail in the air. Then, with a soft flash, it vanished, leaving only a faint shimmer that lingered like a memory. Alara sat up slightly, despite her drowsiness. Where did it go? To the path, the figure said. It waits for you. But I'm so tired, Alara whispered, her voice barely intact. The figure reached out and gently brushed a strand of hair behind her ear, their touch feather light. You don't need strength, they whispered. You only need calmness. The path opens for those who move gently. Alara held the wooden box tighter. And what if I'm not ready? The figure smiled deeply, their eyes warm. Then the night would not have called you here. Her breath shook softly, a mix of nervousness and wonder. Outside, the bells chimed again, this time clearer than ever, as if they were right outside the door. The figure stood, walking to the door slowly, and opened it just a crack. Cool winter air drifted in, carrying with it a soft swirl of snow that glowed faintly. The path outside the cabin was no longer just darkness and trees. A faint trail of silver light wound through the forest, curling gently like moonlit smoke. Alara stared at it, mesmerized. The figure extended a hand toward her. Come, they said softly. The night is gentle, and it will walk with you. Alara hesitated, her exhaustion pulling her downward. But the warmth of the cabin seemed to follow her, encouraging her to rise. She placed her feet on the floor, feeling the wooden boards beneath her toes. The wooden box hummed softly in her hands. Slowly, sleepy, unsteady, but willing, she stood. The figure watched her with an expression that glowed with pride. Good, they whispered. Take your time. Alara stepped toward the doorway. As she did, something remarkable happened. The cold outside didn't bite at her skin. Instead, the night air felt cool but soothing, like stepping into a soft dream. Snowflakes drifted past her face, each one glowing faintly as it fell. The bells chimed once more. The figure stepped beside her. When you are ready, they whispered. The truth will reveal itself. Alara looked down the glowing path, her heartbeat slow and steady. I don't know what I'm walking toward, she admitted. That is the beauty of it. The figure said, some truths are meant to be discovered only in stillness. Alara took a slow breath, and then, with the wooden box pressed gently to her chest, she stepped into the night. The bells echoed softly through the trees, guiding her deeper into the story. The moment Alara stepped onto the glowing path, the forest seemed to shift around her. Quietly, gracefully, as if welcoming her with open arms. The silver light beneath her feet pulsed softly, guiding her forward with a warmth she could feel even through her boots. Each step felt lighter than the last, as though the night itself was carrying her gently along. The air was still and soothing, filled with the faint scent of pine and fresh snow. Snowflakes drifted around her in slow spirals, glowing faintly like tiny stars that had forgotten their way back to the sky. The world felt suspended, hushed, as if time had loosened its grip entirely. Beside her, the figure walked silently, their cloak brushing softly against the glowing snow. They didn't hurry her or guide her, only stayed at her side like a quiet reassurance. "You're doing well," they murmured after a long stretch of peaceful silence. Elara barely responded, her mind drifting in the gentle lull of the night. Her breaths came slow and deep, fogging softly in the cool air. The wooden box in her hands hummed a little brighter with every step she took, as though recognizing the path. "What's at the end?" she whispered, her voice barely more than a breath. "Where am I going?" "To a place you once knew," the figure said softly, "but haven't visited in a long while." Elara frowned slightly, though even that felt soft, dreamlike. "A place I once knew." "Yes," the figure said. "A place within the heart." Elara's fingers tightened gently around the warm box. It pulsed faintly in response, almost like it was answering her question before she could ask it. The bells chimed again in the distance, clearer now, closer. Their sound wasn't loud, but delicate and warm, as though woven from threads of moonlight. Each chime wrapped around her senses, guiding her deeper into calmness. She followed the sound. The path curved gently through the trees, and the deeper they went, the more the forest began to glow. Tiny specks of light floated between the branches, little glimmers of warm gold and soft blue, drifting lazily like sleepy fireflies. Elara slowed, her eyes widening slightly. "What are those?" "Forest dreams," the figure replied softly. "Memories of the night. They gather here when the world grows quiet." One of the glowing specks drifted down toward Elara, hovering just in front of her face. She lifted her hand slowly, and the light settled above her palm, warm and weightless. For a moment, it pulsed gently, as if greeting her. Then it floated upward again, disappearing into the branches. Elara watched it go, her lips parting with a sleepy smile. "It feels like a dream." "It is," the figure said softly, "but also not. The most important things often are both." They continued walking, the forest glowing softly around them. The deeper they went, the more peaceful Elara felt. Her thoughts grew quieter, drifting like soft currents through a calm river. Her eyelids fluttered, heavy, but she kept moving, drawn forward by the gentle rhythm of the bells. After a while, the trees opened slightly, revealing a small clearing blanketed with untouched snow. At its center stood a tall pine tree, unlike any she had ever seen. Its branches shimmered with thousands of tiny lights. Not candles, not ornaments, but something much softer. They glowed like starlight caught in dewdrops, shimmering in slow, soothing patterns. Elara stopped, breath catching softly. "It's beautiful." The figure nodded, their eyes glowing with the reflection of the tree. "This is the heart of Wintervale," they said. "A place of memory, a place of soft truths." Elara stepped closer, drawn to the gentle light that radiated from the tree. Each glow felt like a warm hand brushing her cheek, inviting her closer. Snow swirled around her in small spirals, circling her ankles like playful whispers. As she approached the tree, the wooden box in her hands grew warmer, just enough to feel comforting. The carvings on its surface shimmered with soft silver light. "It's reacting," she murmured. "As it should," the figure replied. "You're close now." Ilara reached the base of the tree and stopped. Something glowed softly in the snow. A faint outline, barely visible. She kneeled down slowly, brushing the snow away with gentle fingers. Under the snow was a small indentation, the same shape and size as the wooden box she held. Her breath softened. "Is this where?" "Yes," the figure whispered. "Place it there." Alara hesitated for only a heartbeat. Then, with a slow exhale, she set the box gently into the indentation. The moment it touched the ground, the entire clearing brightened, softly, warmly. Not enough to startle, but enough to feel like the night had taken a deep, peaceful breath. The wooden box glowed brighter, the carvings shimmering like tiny stars. Snowflakes hovered in the air, suspended mid-fall, unmoving. Then, slowly, the box opened. Not with a jolt, not with a creak, but with a soft, quiet sigh, like a story unfolding after years of waiting. Inside the box was a small, glowing orb, warm, bright, gentle. It pulsed like a heartbeat, radiating calmness. Elara stared at it, eyes wide and sleepy. "What is that?" The figure stepped beside her, their voice tender. "A memory you once lost." Elara felt her chest tighten softly. A memory of what? The creak, but with a soft, quiet eye like a story, unfolding after years of waiting. Inside the box was a small, glowing orc, warm, bright, gentle. It pulsed like a heartbeat, radiating calmness. Elara stared at it, eyes wide and sleepy. "What is that?" The figure stepped quietly beside her, their presence soft and reassuring. Their voice was tender as they whispered, "A memory you once lost." Clara's chest tightened softly. A delicate warmth spread through her, gentle but insistent, as if the orb itself was awakening a long, forgotten part of her heart. She stared at it, wide-eyed, her body already relaxing into the hypnotic rhythm of its pulse. "A memory of what?" she murmured, her voice a sleepy echo in the quiet loft. The figure smiled faintly, watching the light reflect in her eyes. "Something you carried long ago, something precious. It's been waiting for you, patient and calm, until the moment you were ready." Clara reached toward the orb. The instant her fingers brushed its soft glow, waves of warmth spread through her body. Shapes and colors began to form inside the golden light. Fragments of moments she hadn't thought of in years. The laughter of a childhood friend, a fleeting hug from a parent, the first snow she had ever touched, the gentle warmth of someone who had once guided her without words. Each memory pulsed with the orb's heartbeat, tender, slow, and soothing. Tears welled in her sleepy eyes, a mix of joy and relief. She felt the familiar ache of nostalgia, softened by the orb's calm radiance. Each memory settled gently into her mind, like snowflakes drifting and melting on a warm surface. leaving behind only warmth and comfort. The little keeper flitted lazily around her, wings tracing faint trails of silver light that merged with the orb's golden glow. Clara watched, mesmerized, as the memories swirled slowly, each one a whisper of love, a fragment of herself she had forgotten. The figure knelt beside her. "You see, the night has given you this," they murmured. "To remember, to rest, to feel the calm you've always carried inside, even when you forgot it." Clara exhaled slowly, letting the warmth and light envelop her completely. Her eyelids grew heavy, but she kept watching, entranced by the gentle pulse of the orb. Each beat was like a heartbeat of the night itself, a lullaby woven for her, meant to soothe, restore, and carry her into the calmest, deepest sleep. And as she lay back, the glowing orb resting safely in the box beside her, the memories flowing through her mind, and the little keeper hovering softly above, Clara allowed herself to drift entirely into the warmth and peace of the night, knowing that she was safe, remembered, and utterly calm. Clara drifted in that golden haze for a long moment, her breathing slow and even, as though the room itself had synchronized with her heartbeat. Outside, the forest remained silent, the snow floating lazily, each flake glowing softly as it fell. The bells had become a distant hum, a thread of sound winding through the night, steady and comforting. When she finally stirred, it was with the gentlest awareness, as if she were waking from a dream that had folded into another dream. The candle on the table pulsed softly, filling the room with warmth that reached her very core. The little keeper fluttered beside her, brushing its tiny wings against her cheek, urging her softly to rise. Clara sat up slowly, stretching her arms above her head, the quilt sliding gracefully around her shoulders. The warmth from the candle and the presence of the keeper made her feel light and calm, grounded yet free. She glanced around the room, noticing for the first time a small, golden key lying next to the candle. Its surface glimmered, catching the soft glow, as though it were waiting patiently for her to take it. "The key will show you the next part," the figure's voice murmured behind her, "but only if you carry it with care." Clara lifted the key slowly, feeling the gentle weight in her palm. It hummed softly, the vibration echoing faintly in her chest, syncing with her heartbeat. The little keeper fluttered above it, tracing arcs of light in the air, leaving a sparkling trail that seemed to whisper follow. She stepped toward the loft door at the far side of the room. The figure followed silently, a calm presence, giving her the space she needed to discover the next stage of the night's journey. As Clara reached the door, she noticed the snow outside had changed. It now sparkled more brilliantly, as if sprinkled with stardust. And a narrow path of shimmering silver light extended deeper into the forest, winding between ancient trees. Clara stepped out into the snow, each movement slow and deliberate. The cold was soft, almost tender against her skin, and each footfall pressed into the snow like a gentle rhythm. The bells rang faintly in the distance, each note slower, more melodic, guiding her towards something unseen yet deeply familiar. She followed the silver path, her breath forming tiny clouds in the crisp air. The forest around her seemed alive with quiet magic. Snowflakes drifted in spirals. Tiny lights floated among the branches, and a soft hum filled the space between the trees. It was a lullaby woven from memory and starlight, singing her forward without urgency, only gentle insistence. Ahead, she noticed a frozen stream glimmering beneath the moonlight. Its surface reflected the night sky like a mirror, stars twinkling in the ice. Clara knelt and placed a hand gently on the frozen water, feeling the cold seep through her glove, but not chilling her. Rather, it was refreshing, awakening something sleepy and forgotten inside her. The little keeper hovered above her hand, spinning slowly, leaving trails of silver light that danced across the ice. A faint shimmer rose from the stream, as if the water itself held memories waiting to be remembered. The golden key in her pocket pulsed softly in response. "You are ready to remember more," the figure said quietly, stepping beside her. "The stream reflects the moments you have held deep in your heart." Clara leaned closer, tracing her fingers across the ice. Slowly, images began to appear, fleeting, soft, almost like clouds forming in her mind. She saw herself playing in snow as a child, laughter spilling across the frozen yard of her family's home. She saw friends, family, small moments of joy, even struggles that now seemed distant and gentle in memory. Every image carried warmth, soft light, and the unspoken comfort that she had survived, that she had grown, that she had been guided to this very night. The golden key pulsed again, and she realized that the stream held a small, icy chest, almost invisible beneath the frost. Carefully, she pressed the key to the chest, feeling a shiver of warmth spread from the key into her fingers. With a soft click, the chest opened, revealing a delicate, glowing orb, larger than the one in the wooden box in the loft. Its light was gentle but expansive, filling the area with a warm glow that wrapped around her like a blanket. The orb pulsed in harmony with her heartbeat, and Clara realized with a soft exhale that it carried memories of kindness, love, and courage she had often forgotten. She reached out, letting her hands hover over it, feeling a quiet, understanding settle in her chest. The little keeper circled the orb, its wings leaving soft trails of light that merged with the glow, forming a halo around her and the orb. "Take it with you," the figure whispered. "Let it guide you when the night deepens. It carries everything you need to rest fully, to dream fully, to remember the peace that has always been within you." Lara carefully lifted the orb. Its warmth flowed through her, soft and calming, spreading from her hands through her arms and into her entire body. The forest seemed to sigh, a gentle sound of approval, and the silver path glowed brighter, stretching further into the distance. She felt ready to continue, to follow where the night would take her next. Yet a deep sense of calm anchored her in the moment, letting her savor the peace she had found. Snow continued to fall, slower now, each flake catching the glow of the orb, the little keeper, and the distant lanterns. The bells rang faintly once more, a soft echo that seemed to pulse through the forest, the snow, and her very heart. Clara took a deep, steady breath, feeling the warmth of the orb, the presence of the keeper, and the silent encouragement of the figure. Every step forward was guided, every thought softened, every worry dissolved in the quiet magic of the night. And as she walked along the silver path, the warmth and light from the orb, spreading like gentle sunlight, Clara realized that she was not just walking through the forest. She was walking into a deeper, calmer part of herself, a part that had always been there, waiting for the quiet, waiting for the lullaby of bells, waiting for the magic of a Christmas night designed to carry her into a rest so profound it felt eternal. She breathed in the cold, crisp air, feeling it mix with the warmth of the orb and the soft golden glow of the little keeper. Every inhale brought clarity. Every exhale released the weight she had carried for so long. She was ready, truly ready, for the next part of the journey. The silver path stretched endlessly before Clara, the forest alive with quiet magic, yet peaceful, almost reverent in its stillness. The little keeper hovered beside her, wings brushing her cheek, gently with each pulse of light, leaving trails that shimmered softly in the falling snow. Clara held the glowing orb carefully in her hands, feeling its warmth seep into her very bones. Every step along the path was deliberate but effortless, as though the forest itself bore her weight, guiding her deeper into the mystery of this enchanted night. The bells echoed faintly in the distance, slower now, softer, like a lullaby sung to the world itself. Clara felt her chest rise and fall in rhythm with their delicate chimes, and with each note, a layer of sleepiness washed over her, comforting, heavy, but sweet. Her thoughts drifted, unhurried, as memories and fragments of the night's journey mingled in her mind. The loft, the candle, the snow-covered stream, the little keeper, and she realized how fully she had begun to trust this magical night. The forest gradually thinned, revealing a wide clearing bathed in a faint, silvery moonlight. Snow sparkled across the ground, untouched and flawless, reflecting the stars above. At the center of the clearing was a frozen pond, perfectly smooth, shimmering like glass, reflecting both the night sky and the faint glow of the orb in her hands. Clara paused at the edge, gazing at her own reflection in the ice. The golden light of the orb, mingling with the silvery reflections to create a halo around her figure. The figure from the loft stepped forward, silent and serene. "This pond holds the stories of the past," they said softly, their voice carrying on the crisp winter air. "Not all memories are stored in your mind. Some are carried in the quiet of nights like these, waiting for you to discover them." The Clara knelt beside the ice, the golden light of the orb reflecting across its surface. She touched the frozen pond with a fingertip, and immediately the ice rippled, not breaking, but flowing like liquid silver. shimmering in waves that echoed the gentle rhythm of her heartbeat. Shapes began to form in the ripples, scenes from her childhood, small moments she had forgotten, small joys and triumphs, and even tender losses she had tucked away. Each scene pulsed with warmth, illuminated by the gentle light of the orb, as though the night itself was reminding her of all she had carried inside her. She traced the images with her hand, following the flicker of a snowball fight from years ago. A forgotten gift left by a friend, her mother's laugh echoing in the distance. A tear slipped down her cheek, but it was a tear of comfort, not sorrow. The night had given her a space to feel, to remember, and to let go. The little keeper flitted in lazy spirals around the pond, leaving trails of silver light that danced across the ice, merging with the golden glow of the orb to form a soft, warm aura around Clara. "You have done well to come this far," the figure whispered. "But there is more for you. The night has one final gift to offer before rest can fully claim you." The orb pulsed once, brighter than before, and Clara realized the glow was not just light. It was a bridge. The golden light extended outward, connecting her to the frozen pond, the snow-covered trees, the sparkling stars above, and even the faint bells that jingled far in the distance. It was as if the night itself was wrapping her in a cocoon of warmth and peace. With a slow, deep breath, Clara rose to her feet. She felt the snow crunch softly beneath her boots, each step echoing faintly like a gentle heartbeat. The figure followed at a respectful distance, and the little keeper hovered in front of her, guiding her as the silver path curved around the pond and into the heart of a cluster of ancient pines. Inside the grove, the air shimmered faintly with magic, each branch outlined by soft light. Clara felt a weightlessness in her body, as though the forest itself was holding her aloft. Snow drifted in spirals, slow and hypnotic, landing lightly on her shoulders and eyelashes, leaving faint traces of starlight wherever it touched. The bells rang again, faint and clear, like the night reminding her to breathe, to slow, to sink deeper into the serene rhythm of the journey. At the center of the grove, a small wooden platform appeared, seemingly built by hands that had long ago disappeared into the folds of memory. Upon it rested a large, ornate box, carved with intricate patterns of snowflakes, stars, and spirals of light. Clara approached it slowly, her heart pulsing softly in tune with the orb she carried. The little keeper perched on the edge of the box, wings folded, eyes gleaming like tiny lanterns. "This is the final resting place of the night's gift," the figure said softly, kneeling beside the platform. "It is not a gift in the way you think. It is a reminder, a promise, a way to carry the peace you have discovered here into the waking world." Clara knelt before the box, setting the golden orb gently inside. The box pulsed with a soft glow in response, and the air around it shimmered as if alive. Slowly, the box opened, not with a sound, but with a gentle sigh, releasing a light so soft, so encompassing, that Clara felt it seep into her entire body. She closed her eyes, letting the warmth and calmness wrap around her like the gentlest hug. Inside the box, she saw small fragments of memories she hadn't known she had. The laughter of a childhood friend, the touch of a parent's hand, the gentle encouragement of teachers, the love of animals she had cared for, and moments of kindness that she had both given and received. Each memory floated like a tiny, glowing snowflake, drifting softly in the air around her, leaving trails of warmth and light that made the grove feel alive, safe, and infinitely calm. Clara exhaled slowly, letting the weight of the day, the year, and all the years before settle gently into the ground beneath her. The snowflakes continued to drift, mingling with the glowing memories until the entire grove seemed to shimmer with soft, golden, silver light. The bells rang one last time, faint, distant, perfect, and Clara felt her eyes grow heavy, her body sinking into the warmth and serenity of the night. The figure leaned close and whispered, "Rest now. The night has done its work. You have walked the path, found the memories, and claimed the peace that has always been within you. Sleep and let the stars watch over you." Clara smiled softly, her eyelids closing completely. The little keeper flitted above her, leaving one last trail of silver light across her face, then settled beside her as if guarding her dreams. The snow outside continued to drift, the bells faded into quiet, and the forest itself seemed to exhale, leaving only the perfect hush of a magical Christmas night. And as Clara's breathing slowed, deepened, and evened, the grove pulsed once with gentle light, then quieted. She was completely, perfectly at peace. Clara awoke, or rather, stirred, in a gentle haze of warmth and silver light. She didn't feel fully awake, nor fully asleep. She felt suspended in the softest space between dreams and reality, a place the night had prepared just for her. The little keeper hovered above her shoulder, wings brushing lightly against her cheek, leaving trails of delicate starlight that shimmered in the faint glow of the forest beyond the grove. The grove itself seemed unchanged, yet somehow even more alive, as if it had absorbed Clara's peace and reflected it back in gentle, pulsing light. Snowflakes drifted lazily through the branches, spiraling like tiny dancers, each one glowing faintly with its own inner warmth. The bells rang softly in the distance, a melody slower than before, soothing every inch of Clara's body. She stretched her fingers slowly, feeling the warmth of the forest settle deep into her arms and chest. The golden orb she had carried glowed faintly beside her, responding to her pulse. Clara felt its warmth rise, spreading through her body, a comforting tide that washed over any lingering tension. She exhaled slowly, the sound blending with the faint hum of the forest, and for the first time in a long while, felt entirely present, entirely at peace. The figure from the loft appeared at the edge of the grove, their presence soft, quiet, yet unmistakable. "You are ready for the next part," they whispered. "There is one final journey before the night releases you fully into rest." Clara nodded sleepily, letting her gaze drift over the grove, taking in the shimmering snow, the glowing orb, the flitting light of the little keeper, and the distant bells. She followed the silver path again, stepping carefully yet easily, as if guided by the very pulse of the earth beneath her feet. Each step brought a soft crunch of snow. Each breath carried the faint scent of pine and peppermint, and every moment felt suspended in the calm rhythm of the night. The path led her to a narrow archway of intertwined branches, their tips glowing faintly like frost-kissed stars. Beyond the archway, the forest opened into a vast, silent expanse where snow covered the ground so perfectly that it seemed unreal. In the distance, a faint light shimmered, pulsing gently like a heartbeat. Clara felt herself drawn to it, guided by the warmth of the orb and the soft presence of the keeper. As she approached, she realized the light came from a small cabin, almost invisible in the snow, its windows glowing softly. A gentle wisp of smoke rose from the chimney, curling lazily into the air. Clara knew instinctively that this cabin held the final memory, the last gift of the night. Her footsteps were slow, deliberate, each one sinking gently into the pristine snow. The cabin door opened almost before she touched it, and Clara stepped inside. Warmth enveloped her immediately, carrying the familiar scents of cinnamon, pine, and something sweet and comforting she could not name. The room was cozy, with a fireplace burning gently, casting flickering shadows across the walls. Soft quilts were draped over chairs, and the little keeper flitted around, leaving traces of silvery light that danced across the room. At the center of the room was a small table. Upon it rested a single, snow-dusted book, its cover embossed with delicate patterns of stars, snowflakes, and trees. Clara felt the faintest shiver of recognition, a memory she could almost grasp but not fully remember. She approached the table slowly, feeling the warmth from the fireplace settle into her chest and limbs, and placed her hands lightly on the cover of the book. The moment she touched it, the book opened gently, revealing pages filled with softly glowing letters. Clara leaned closer, her eyes tracing the delicate words. They did not need to be read aloud. They were felt, understood, carried deep into her heart. The letters told stories of love, kindness, courage, and hope. Memories she had known, moments she had lived, and lessons she had learned. Each story was like a gentle breath, slow, calming, and infinite. The little keeper landed softly on the table, wings folding as it pulsed with tiny ripples of light. Clara watched as the pages of the book turned by themselves, drifting in the warm air, revealing more memories than she could have held in her mind alone. A soft smile tugged at her lips. These were not just stories. They were reminders of all that she had carried inside her heart, all that had guided her to this very night. The golden orb pulsed in harmony with the book's glow, connecting her to every story, every memory, every whisper of love that had led her here. Clara felt a quiet surge of gratitude and peace, knowing that the night had prepared this moment just for her. The forest outside was silent but vibrant, the snow falling slower now, each flake sparkling as though it carried a secret promise. The figure from the loft stepped closer, placing a hand gently on Clara's shoulder. "This is your gift," they whispered. "Not a gift to hold, but a gift to carry within. Remember it when you awaken. Carry it into your days and nights. It will guide you back to peace whenever you need it." Clara nodded sleepily, feeling her eyelids grow heavier, her body melting into the warmth of the cabin, the glow of the orb, and the comfort of the memories surrounding her. She traced a finger along the edges of the book, letting the stories seep into her mind, feeling the gentle rise and fall of her heartbeat. Outside, the snow continued to drift, slower than before, each flake suspended in the soft glow of moonlight. The bells rang once more, faint and distant like a lullaby woven for the world. Clara felt herself sinking further into the warmth and calm, every worry, every fleeting thought, dissolving into the night. She lay down on a quilted chair by the fire, letting herself sink completely. The golden orb beside her, the little keeper settling against her side. Her breaths grew slower, deeper, merging with the gentle rhythm of the night. The book hovered faintly, pages glowing softly, carrying memories and stories into the quiet space around her. And in that stillness, in the embrace of warmth, light, and gentle memory, Clara finally allowed herself to drift into a deep, serene sleep. The forest outside, the grove, the cabin, the silver path, they all seemed to hold their breath, preserving the perfection of this moment. The bells, the snow, the little keeper, and the golden orb pulsed softly, a lullaby that stretched infinitely, wrapping the world in gentle, unbroken calm. The night had given her peace. The memories had reminded her of love. The stories had carried her gently to rest. And as Clara slept, deeper than she ever had before, the world itself seemed to sigh, holding her in the quiet magic of a Christmas night meant to heal, soothe, and guide. Clara's sleep was soft, deep, and gentle, yet not still. In the quiet of the cabin, golden light mingled with silvery traces of snow, weaving around her in gentle arcs, as if the night itself was wrapping her in a cocoon of warmth. The little keeper remained at her side, wings tucked, but pulsing faintly with light, a quiet heartbeat of the night's magic. Clara's breathing was slow, even, harmonizing with the subtle hum of the forest outside. When she stirred, it was as if she had awakened within a dream that had never ended. The cabin glowed softly, the fireplace casting flickering shadows, and the golden orb beside her pulsed with the same gentle rhythm as her heart. The book hovered faintly, its pages still glowing with stories, each word a whisper of comfort and memory. Clara felt herself lighter than before, as though the burdens she had carried were now resting gently in the snow outside, absorbed by the night. A soft wind drifted through the slightly open window, carrying the scent of pine and peppermint. Clara inhaled deeply, letting the aroma fill her chest, the crisp winter air mingling with the warmth of the cabin. The little keeper rose from her side, flitting in lazy spirals, leaving traces of silver light that swirled through the room like tiny galaxies. She followed its flight with half-closed eyes, letting her mind drift, slow and unhurried, guided by the rhythm of the night. The figure from the loft appeared beside her once more, calm and silent. "There is one final step," they whispered. "A place where the night will grant you full peace, where dreams and reality merge, and where sleep can carry you beyond all thought." Clara nodded, feeling no rush, only a calm willingness. The orb pulsed, and the glow expanded, filling the cabin, reaching out into the snow-laden forest beyond. The little keeper hovered before her, wings tracing a path of light into the winter night. Clara rose slowly, each movement deliberate but dreamlike, feeling a gentle pull from the orb guiding her forward. Outside, the snow sparkled like liquid silver. The bells, faint and distant, rang once more, a lullaby tuned perfectly to her heartbeat. Clara stepped onto the snow-covered path, feeling its soft crunch beneath her boots, the crisp air brushing her cheeks. Every step seemed lighter than the last, the forest welcoming her fully, bending softly around her, as if the trees themselves leaned in to guide her onward. The silver path led to a small, frozen waterfall cascading gently into a glimmering pool. Though frozen, the water shimmered, reflecting the stars and moonlight, as if liquid light had been captured beneath a layer of ice. Clara approached slowly, the golden orb in her hands pulsing brighter, its warmth radiating through the cold night. The little keeper hovered just above the surface, wings leaving trails of silver that danced across the ice like soft starlight. "This is the pool of night," the figure said quietly. "It is the place where dreams and memories converge. Here, the night will gather your rest and carry it through the hours until the dawn." And Clara knelt at the edge of the pool, placing the golden orb gently onto the ice. It did not slide or fall. Instead, it seemed to settle, its light merging with the shimmer of the frozen water. The pool rippled faintly, reflecting fragments of Clara's journey: the loft, the candle, the grove, the cabin, the memories, the little keeper, and the shimmering silver path. Each image pulsed in gentle rhythm, and Clara realized with a soft smile that all of it, every step, every memory, every glow, had led her here. She lay down beside the pool, quilted blanket tucked around her shoulders, golden orb resting softly at her side, and the little keeper perched upon her hand, wings folded, glowing faintly. Her breaths were slow, deep, perfectly aligned with the hum of the night, the ripple of the ice, and the soft whisper of the bells. Every inch of her body relaxed, every thought softened, and she felt as though she were floating, suspended in the perfect stillness of the world. Outside, the forest seemed to bend toward her, snowflakes drifting in slow spirals, the branches glowing faintly with soft, silver light. The bells rang again, faint and melodious, carrying a tune that wove seamlessly with Clara's heartbeat. The little keeper hummed softly, a vibration she could feel through her hand. spreading warmth and calmness into her chest. The figure knelt beside her, placing a gentle hand upon her shoulder. "Rest fully," they whispered. "The night has guided you through memory, magic, and light. Sleep now, and let the dreams carry you wherever you need to go." Clara exhaled, a soft, contented sigh escaping her lips. She let herself sink into the snow, dusted quilt, the warmth of the orb spreading through her like sunlight through a winter sky. Her eyes closed completely, and the world around her seemed to soften, edges blurring, colors melting into gentle pools of gold, silver, and deep blue. In the stillness, Clara felt herself drifting, weightless, carried by the hum of the bells, the whisper of the wind, the shimmer of snow, and the gentle pulse of the orb. Memories and dreams blended seamlessly, each one a thread of comfort, each one a fragment of magic meant to guide her to deeper rest. She felt no urgency, no thought of the world beyond, only the perfect, unbroken calm of the night held her entirely. The little keeper nestled beside her hand, wings folded, glowing faintly, while the golden orb pulsed softly, filling the air with warmth. The snowflakes spiraled down from the sky, suspended in time, as if the forest itself had paused to watch over her. The bells faded into a distant, perfect hum, a lullaby echoing across the silent night. And as Clara drifted further, deeper than she ever had before, the night wrapped her completely in its magic. Her breaths became slower, deeper, even merging with the rhythm of the forest, the glow of the orb, the warmth of the keeper, and the gentle lullaby of bells. Time no longer mattered. The world beyond the snow, the trees, and the frozen waterfall faded, leaving only the perfect embrace of calm, warmth, peace. The pool of night reflected her journey, one last time: the loft, the candle, the grove, the cabin, the memories, the little keeper, the silver path, and the golden orb. Each pulse of light was a heartbeat of magic, a reminder that she carried everything she needed for peace within her. She exhaled fully, letting the warmth, the glow, and the calm flow into every corner of her being. And there, beneath the silver stars and drifting snow, Clara surrendered completely to the night. She slept deeply, perfectly, peacefully. Every memory, every glow, every soft echo of bells became part of her rest, carrying her through the hours until the first gentle light of dawn. The little keeper stayed by her side, a guardian of dreams. The golden orb pulsed softly, a heartbeat of magic, and the world, silent and serene, held her in a perfect, unbroken Christmas night lullaby. Clara's sleep was soft, deep, and gentle, yet not still. In the quiet of the cabin, golden light mingled with silvery traces of snow, weaving around her in gentle arcs, as if the night itself was wrapping her in a cocoon of warmth. The little keeper remained at her side, wings tucked, but pulsing faintly with light, a quiet heartbeat of the night's magic. Clara's breathing was slow, even, harmonizing with the subtle hum of the forest outside. When she stirred, it was as if she had awakened within a dream that had never ended. The cabin glowed softly, the fireplace casting flickering shadows, and the golden orb beside her pulsed with the same gentle rhythm as her heart. The book hovered faintly, its pages still glowing with stories, each word a whisper of comfort and memory. Clara felt herself lighter than before, as though the burdens she had carried were now resting gently in the snow outside. Absorbed by the night, a soft wind drifted through the slightly open window, carrying the scent of pine and peppermint. Clara inhaled deeply, letting the aroma fill her chest, the crisp winter air mingling with the warmth of the cabin. The little keeper rose from her side, flitting in lazy spirals, leaving traces of silver light that swirled through the room like tiny galaxies. She followed its flight with half-closed eyes, letting her mind drift, slow and unhurried, guided by the rhythm of the night. The figure from the loft appeared beside her, once more, calm and silent. "There is one final step," they whispered. "A place where the night will grant you full peace, where dreams and reality merge, and where sleep can carry you beyond all thought." Clara nodded, feeling no rush, only a calm willingness. The orb pulsed, and the glow expanded, filling the cabin, reaching out into the snow-laden forest beyond. The little keeper hovered before her, wings tracing a path of light into the winter night. Clara rose slowly, each movement deliberate but dreamlike, feeling a gentle pull from the orb guiding her forward. Outside, the snow sparkled like liquid silver. The bells, faint and distant, rang once more, a lullaby tuned perfectly to her heartbeat. Clara stepped onto the snow-covered path, feeling its soft crunch beneath her boots, the crisp air brushing her cheeks. Every step seemed lighter than the last, the forest welcoming her fully, bending softly around her, as if the trees themselves leaned in to guide her onward. The silver path led to a small, frozen waterfall, cascading gently into a glimmering pool. Though frozen, the water shimmered, reflecting the stars and moonlight, as if liquid light had been captured beneath a layer of ice. Clara approached slowly, the golden orb in her hands pulsing brighter, its warmth radiating through the cold night. The little keeper hovered just above the surface, wings leaving trails of silver that danced across the ice like soft starlight. "This is the pool of night," the figure said quietly. "It is the place where dreams and memories converge. Here, the night will gather your rest and carry it through the hours until the dawn." Clara knelt at the edge of the pool, placing the golden orb gently onto the ice. It did not slide or fall. Instead, it seemed to settle, its light merging with the shimmer of the frozen water. The pool rippled faintly, reflecting fragments of Clara's journey, the loft, the candle, the grove, the cabin, the memories, the little keeper, and the shimmering silver path. Each image pulsed in gentle rhythm, and Clara realized with a soft smile that all of it, every step, every memory, every glow, had led her here. She lay down beside the pool, quilted blanket tucked around her shoulders, golden orb resting softly at her side, and the little keeper perched upon her hand, wings folded. Glowing faintly, her breaths were slow, deep, perfectly aligned with the hum of the night, the ripple of the ice, and the soft whisper of the bells. Every inch of her body relaxed, every thought softened, and she felt as though she were floating, suspended in the perfect stillness of the world. Outside, the forest seemed to bend toward her, snowflakes drifting in slow spirals, the branches glowing faintly with soft, silver light. The bells rang again, faint and melodious, carrying a tune that wove seamlessly with Clara's heartbeat. The little keeper hummed softly, a vibration she could feel through her hand, spreading warmth and calmness into her chest. The figure knelt beside her, placing a gentle hand upon her shoulder. "Rest fully," they whispered. "The night has guided you through memory, magic, and light. Sleep now, and let the dreams carry you wherever you need to go." Clara exhaled, a soft, contented sigh escaping her lips. She let herself sink into the snow-dusted quilt, the warmth of the orb spreading through her like sunlight through a winter sky. Her eyes closed completely, and the world around her seemed to soften, edges blurring, colors melting into gentle pools of gold, silver, and deep blue. In the stillness, Clara felt herself drifting, weightless, carried by the hum of the bells, the whisper of the wind, the shimmer of snow, and the gentle pulse of the orb. Memories and dreams blended seamlessly, each one a thread of comfort, each one a fragment of magic meant to guide her to deeper rest. She felt no urgency, no thought of the world beyond, only the perfect, unbroken calm of the night held her entirely. The little keeper nestled beside her hand, wings folded, glowing faintly, while the golden orb pulsed softly, filling the air with warmth. The snowflakes spiraled down from the sky, suspended in time, as if the forest itself had paused to watch over her. The bells faded into a distant, perfect hum, a lullaby echoing across the silent night. And as Clara drifted further, deeper than she ever had before, the night wrapped her completely in its magic. Her breaths became slower, deeper, even, merging with the rhythm of the forest, the glow of the orb, the warmth of the keeper, and the gentle lullaby of bells. Time no longer mattered. The world beyond the snow, the trees, and the frozen waterfall faded, leaving only the perfect embrace of calm, warmth, and peace. The pool of night reflected her journey, one last time: the loft, the candle, the grove, the cabin, the memories, the little keeper, the silver path, and the golden orb. Each pulse of light was a heartbeat of magic, a reminder that she carried everything she needed for peace within her. She exhaled fully, letting the warmth, the glow, and the calm flow into every corner of her being. And there, beneath the silver stars and drifting snow, Clara surrendered completely to the night. She slept deeply, perfectly, peacefully. Every memory, every glow, every soft echo of bells became part of her rest, carrying her through the hours until the first gentle light of dawn. The little keeper stayed by her side, a guardian of dreams. The golden orb pulsed softly, a heartbeat of magic. And the world, silent and serene, held her in a perfect, unbroken Christmas night lullaby. Clara's sleep was soft, deep and gentle, yet not still. In the quiet of the cabin, golden light mingled with silvery traces of snow, weaving around her in gentle arcs, as if the night itself was wrapping her in a cocoon of warmth. The little keeper remained at her side, wings tucked but pulsing faintly with light, a quiet heartbeat of the night's magic. Clara's breathing was slow, even harmonizing with the subtle hum of the forest outside. When she stirred, it was as if she had awakened within a dream that had never ended. The cabin glowed softly, the fireplace casting flickering shadows, and the golden orb beside her pulsed with the same gentle rhythm as her heart. The book hovered faintly, its pages still glowing with stories, each word a whisper of comfort and memory. Clara felt herself lighter than before, as though the burdens she had carried were now resting gently in the snow outside. Absorbed by the night, a soft wind drifted through the slightly open window, carrying the scent of pine and peppermint. Clara inhaled deeply, letting the aroma fill her chest, the crisp winter air mingling with the warmth of the cabin. The little keeper rose from her side, flitting in lazy spirals, leaving traces of silver light that swelled through the room like tiny galaxies. She followed its flight with half-closed eyes, letting her mind drift, slow and unhurried, guided by the rhythm of the night. The figure from the loft appeared beside her once more, calm and silent. "There is one final step," they whispered. "A place where the night will grant you full peace. Where dreams and reality merge, and where sleep can carry you beyond all thought." Clara nodded, feeling no rush, only a calm willingness. The orb pulsed, and the glow expanded, filling the cabin, reaching out into the snow-laden forest beyond. The little keeper hovered before her, wings tracing a path of light into the winter night. Clara rose slowly, each movement deliberate but dreamlike, feeling a gentle pull from the orb guiding her forward. Outside, the snow sparkled like liquid silver. The bells, faint and distant, rang once more, a lullaby tuned perfectly to her heartbeat. Clara stepped onto the snow-covered path, feeling its soft crunch beneath her boots, the crisp air brushing her cheeks. Every step seemed lighter than the last, the forest welcoming her fully, bending softly around her, as if the trees themselves leaned in to guide her onward. The silver path led to a small, frozen waterfall cascading gently into a glimmering pool. Though frozen, the water shimmered, reflecting the stars and moonlight, as if liquid light had been captured beneath a layer of ice. Clara approached slowly, the golden orb in her hands pulsing brighter, its warmth radiating through the cold night. The little keeper hovered just above the surface, wings leaving trails of silver that danced across the ice like soft starlight. "This is the pool of night," the figure said quietly. "It is the place where dreams and memories converge. Here, the night will gather your rest and carry it through the hours until the dawn." Clara knelt at the edge of the pool, placing the golden orb gently onto the ice. It did not slide or fall. Instead, it seemed to settle, its light merging with the shimmer of the frozen water. The pool rippled faintly, reflecting fragments of Clara's journey. The loft, the candle, the grove, the cabin, the memories, the little keeper, and the shimmering silver path. Each image pulsed in gentle rhythm, and Clara realized with a soft smile that all of it, every step, every memory, every glow, had led her here. She lay down beside the pool, quilted blanket tucked around her shoulders, golden orb resting softly at her side, and the little keeper perched upon her hand, wings folded, glowing faintly. Her breaths were slow, deep, perfectly aligned with the hum of the night, the ripple of the ice, and the soft whisper of the bells. Every inch of her body relaxed, every thought softened, and she felt as though she were floating, suspended in the perfect stillness of the world. Outside, the forest seemed to bend toward her, snowflakes drifting in slow spirals, the branches glowing faintly with soft, silver light. The bells rang again, faint and melodious, carrying a tune that wove seamlessly with Clara's heartbeat. The little keeper hummed softly, a vibration she could feel through her hand, spreading warmth and calmness into her chest. The figure knelt beside her, placing a gentle hand upon her shoulder. "Rest fully," they whispered. "The night has guided you through memory, magic, and light. Sleep now, and let the dreams carry you wherever you need to go." Clara exhaled, a soft, contented sigh escaping her lips. She let herself sink into the snow, dusted quilt, the warmth of the orb spreading through her, like sunlight through a winter sky. Her eyes closed completely, and the world around her seemed to soften, edges blurring, colors melting into gentle pools of gold, silver, and deep blue. In the stillness, Clara felt herself drifting, weightless, carried by the hum of the bells, the whisper of the wind, the shimmer of snow, and the gentle pulse of the orb. Memories and dreams blended seamlessly, each one a thread of comfort, each one a fragment of magic, meant to guide her to deeper rest. She felt no urgency, no thought of the world beyond, only the perfect, unbroken calm of the night held her entirely. The little keeper nestled beside her hand, wings folded, glowing faintly, while the golden orb pulsed softly, filling the air with warmth. The snowflakes spiraled down from the sky, suspended in time, as if the forest itself had paused to watch over her. The bells faded into a distant, perfect hum, a lullaby echoing across the silent night. And as Clara drifted further, deeper than she ever had before, the night wrapped her completely in its magic. Her breaths became slower, deeper, even merging with the rhythm of the forest, the glow of the orb, the warmth of the keeper, and the gentle lullaby of bells. Time no longer mattered. The world beyond the snow, the trees, and the frozen waterfall faded, leaving only the perfect embrace of calm, warmth, and peace. The pool of night reflected her journey one last time, the loft, the candle, the grove, the cabin, the memories, the little keeper, the silver path, and the golden orb. Each pulse of light was a heartbeat of magic, a reminder that she carried everything she needed for peace within her. She exhaled fully, letting the warmth, the glow, and the calm flow into every corner of her being. And there, beneath the silver stars and drifting snow, Clara surrendered completely to the night. She slept deeply, perfectly, peacefully. Every memory, every glow, every soft echo of bells became part of her rest, carrying her through the hours until the first gentle light of dawn. The little keeper stayed by her side, a guardian of dreams. The golden orb pulsed softly, a heartbeat of magic, and the world, silent and serene, held her in a perfect, unbroken Christmas night lullaby.